So now we're going to find the vertex, focus, and directrix from an equation. And the equation is not in the form that we just saw in the last video. It's not in vertex form. And so we're going to have to do a little bit of manipulating and moving things around. And what we're going to do is make sure that we know our goal. Oops, there we go. Our goal is going to be to get this into this form, right? If I can get it into that form, then I can find my vertex. If I get it into that form, then I'll have my A, which contains my P, and therefore I can put the focus and the directrix on there and then find out, I basically can find both the focus and directrix. So let's take a look at starting this problem. The very first thing that we're going to do when we see this in just standard form, when we see the equation in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c, we're going to clear, and I'm going to write some steps here, we're going to clear the third position. Now, a lot of books don't do it this way, and you might not agree with this way, but I think it's the best way for me, and I think it's helpful to a lot of students. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to move that third position over to the other side temporarily. All right, so now what's the second step we're going to do? The second step we're going to do is we're going to factor off the leading coefficient, if there is one besides, one different than one coefficient. Factor off the leading coefficient. Once we clear the third position, we'll factor off the leading coefficient. So here's what this will look like. We factor it off. I want that x squared to be clean. So that actually changes this to 4x, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and prepare a position right there, because this is us completing the square, right? This is the process called completing the square. Now, I'm going to put my own, well, if I could get this to switch, I'm going to put my own number here. And because I'm going to put my own number there, I'm going to have to put the equivalent number over here. Now, notice I said the equivalent number, so just pay close attention. Here's what we're going to do. First thing, we know how to complete the square, right? We go, okay, what's half of the middle term? In other words, half of the b. Half of 4 is 2. Now we're going to square the 2. All right, so that gives me a 4. So I'm going to put a 4 here, but hold on. Don't put a 4 on the left side just yet. If I multiply through and get rid of the parentheses, would I really have a 4 there? I wouldn't have a 4 there. I would actually a -8, right? I'd actually have a -8 right there, wouldn't I? Because I would actually have a -8, that's what I've actually put on the right side. So I'm going to have to equally put a -8 on the left side. Okay, so replay that if you need to and convince yourself that that's the way it has to be, because otherwise we can't leave the equals sign there. Okay, so now we've completed the square, so now we know that it's just going to be this. So there's that. I completed the square so that I could factor it and write it in a condensed sort of way with the squared. So I'm going to combine my like terms there. And now all I have to do now is to just move the 11 to the other side. And here we go. And here's what we found out. We found out that there are our positions for our H and K, meaning there's our vertex. This right here is our A. Well, we already know, we could tell from the beginning that this was going to be opening down, right? The Y is a single, and the Y is not squared, the X is squared, so it's up and down. So let's take a look. Let's go ahead and come over here and write our vertex. The vertex is, now notice this. My equation has a plus, but the formula has a minus. So what would we have to have put in there? It evidently would have to have been a -2 for that formula to create a positive. Okay? Now, the 11 is just the 11, so there's my vertex. Pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a picture Now I already happen to know that this is going to be way up here. Well, you know that too. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now that just didn't work. I'm going to have to move it down a little bit. Pardon me. Let me just move this up. There we go. Give it a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we've got some semblance of our scale here. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this thing. We have a negative over -2 up 11. So 1, 2, 3. Forgot how far I went. So there's my vertex. -2, 11. Close enough. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take this right here, okay, and I'm going to replace the a with 1 over 4p, right? We know that's what a is equal to. So I have that is equal to -2. Okay, so this is me finding more information so I can get my vertex, so I can get my directrix and my focus. All right, I'm going to put the -2 over 1. I'm going to use cross products. We know what cross products are. We multiply straight across the equals. Okay, it's an equals sign that gives us that, right? So we have -8p is equal to 1, and I get p is equal to -1/8. So it's negative because this thing is going to open down, right? The 1/8 is what I'm really interested in. So let's go ahead and put the 1/8 in its position. So I'm going to change up my color a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and go with blue for the vertex. Now, it's going to be very difficult, but I'm going to go ahead and try to put a point just 1/8 away. Okay, it's opening down. I know that my focus has to be down then if it's going to open down. So there's my parabola opening down. So my focus is 1/8 away that way, but my directrix is 1/8 away the other direction. So it's really, really close to the vertex, right? That's what we found for the p, and that's what the p is how far the focus and the directrix are away from the vertex. So let's go ahead now and name our focus. Okay, let's name our focus. The focus has to be -2, and you notice we didn't go up to 11. We went 1/8 shy of 11. Well, what is that? 10 and 7/8. I went 1/8 shy of 11. There's my focus. Now my directrix, I went 1/8 over. Okay, now this is just the equation of a line, right? My directrix, it's y equals 11 and 1/8. Okay, so there are your 3 things that they asked for, and for which they asked, excuse me, and I hope this was helpful. There are our answers. Hope you were helped by this. Thanks for watching.